Are you ready to finally experience the financial freedom you've been dreaming about? I know with the way inflation has made the cost of living go up, it's very easy to be discouraged and feel like money is running out. It's not by accident that you're listening to this. Hi. I'm Jasmine Bridges, and welcome to the Money Goddess podcast. I show you how to manifest money on autopilot using practical strategies and biblical principles. By doing this, you'll develop an abundant mindset where you rely on the power of God and not the ups and downs of the world. Invest in your mental diet by tuning in to the podcast weekly on the station, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Back to the Money Goddess podcast. I'm very excited to have Coach Angie B here with us today. This is going to be an amazing topic talking about all things holistic, healing, confidence, just getting us to where we need to be to attract money miracles. So we are really excited to see you. And I want to give you guys just a little bit of backstory about Angie B. She's deeply passionate about guiding individuals through profound transformations by integrating physical and breath fitness, wellness through sound healing, emotional release through body movement, and the power of master life coaching. In 1999, she discovered the delicate balance between her love for food and the pursuit of a healthy, vibrant body. This pivotal realization expanded her view of wellness beyond fitness, unveiling the necessity of a holistic approach that nurtures the body, mind, and spirit. Welcome again. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we are going to dig into a lot of topics that I think are really going to change people's lives. So, even though I talk a lot about abundance, I am all into wellness, like everything wellness, because I feel like when we are well, we naturally become magnetic to money, period. We become magnetic to almost any good thing in this life. And so I want my audience to recognize that themselves, because we can try to focus on money and like chase all we want, but if we aren't right within, all we're going to do is push that away. So I'm happy you're here to share your insight and be able to, ground us in this work. So, if you don't mind, I would love to know more about your journey into wellness. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh goodness. So way back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. I'm joking. Um in the late 1900s, good God. Um I grew up in a very tight community. I grew up in a very tight and a very yeah, a very small community, very tight community. And if you can't figure it out already, I am not one to fit in the box. Okay. That is just not where I'm at. So growing up, I didn't know I was doing this, but I discovered fitness on an accident with a boyfriend, and I started working out. I started working in the gym. I started finding my own freedom and my own passion with being in fitness and being a personal trainer, changing my body, developing my body, and being like, okay, this is empowering, and actually developing the power and feeling the power within myself by using this thing that we're in, this vehicle that we're in called the body. So when as I started training started training at LA Fitness like most trainers do and started doing all that stuff, I did have a lot of people working with me, and one of the main issues that I kept running into was they were doing the work, they were doing the actual physical work, but the
Mhm.
mindset wasn't right. And I didn't know that then. Okay. I was just like, whatever. I didn't get that. Um, And so with one of my clients in particular, and he knows I talk about him all the time, but he is my star, that he was in between. We started training with him and I training him for years, and we could not break the barrier of 300 pounds. We could just not get
Really?
past the barrier of 300 pounds at all.
Mhm.
We would train for years. He would do the push-ups, he would bench 200, he could, squat, he could do all the things. But what would happen is when we get to 298, 299, anywhere in the twos, I wouldn't see him for 3 to 6 months.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
Thank goodness he was still paying me.
Self-sabotaging.
He, right, exactly. He was still paying me. Thank you. But he would self-sabotage. This is back when, before DoorDash and before Uber Eats. He would literally order all the pizzas over, eat the pizzas himself, get back to 350, get back to 375, because that's where his mind was comfortable at.
Mm. Mhm.
So one day I just asked him what's going on. And this is for years. Like we'd done this yo-yo 2 or 3 times. He would get there and he would not, he would get to 299 and all of a sudden I wouldn't see him. And finally, this is when I started being able to ask questions and starting getting in tune with people. And it's like, okay, what are you not accepting about yourself? And sure enough, we started talking, and turns out he needed to come out the closet. And I'm like, that
Mm.
doesn't change push-ups. That doesn't change bills. And he's like, well, maybe people won't accept me for who I am. I'm like, everybody really does love you. And if those who don't, then maybe they weren't your friends in the first place.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
that, after that, and he's now maintaining 270. No, he dropped down to 275, 280, 250, and now he's maintaining 250 to 215 easily. And
Good.
so just being able to, that was the one of the first triumph moments to be able to say, hey, you got to accept you. And there's other
Mhm.
things and other people that I've worked with too. Molestations or rape victims are very, very traumatized when it comes to releasing weight, because our body, sometimes we think it was our body that attracted that thing to us, and it wasn't. It was that decision. It was a decision of a whole nother person.
Mhm.
And so, like, literally having to say, okay, you got to be okay being seen, because sometimes that weight is a protector. So now
Mhm.
you got to be able to go, okay, what is this weight protecting me from? And now I got to make sure that, okay, I protect myself in a different way and not just with the weight.
Yeah. Yeah. That definitely happens. And I would say, like, I've even experienced that, when I was like postpartum, because I would lose the weight, then gain the weight, lose the weight,
Hmm.
then gain the weight. And I had to figure out, what was it. And a lot of it was, I really just, I didn't want to be seen, as you mentioned. That was one thing, because I felt like, oh, I'm a mom. Mom should not be, that sexy person anymore. You
Right,
have to be this
right.
modest, put together. And then I'm like, no, but I'm still a hot girl, like whether I'm a mom or not.
It
And
still can
that's
be
when,
hot though. Someone just make sure you put the baby in daycare. Who got the baby? Okay,
exactly.
cool.
Right. And that's what I did. And like now, like I've been in Pilates for almost 7 months, and I have just seen my body like transform. And even the way that I eat, has transformed. But it's because I had to like dig into those questions of like why, like what is really going on that, you mentioned.
I'm glad you
So,
mentioned that, because people say
mhm,
that all the time, like you should be this. I'm like, why should I be anything? Like, why can't I just be
mhm.
me? So I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you for that.
Thank you, thank you. And I also noticed something that you mentioned whenever you first like came on, like that you don't fit in a box. And I feel like when we always try to fit into this cookie cutter box, we're not being our authentic self. And I feel like we don't get the best results when we're not ourselves. Has that been your experience, like with your clients as well?
That has been my experience with anyone that hangs around me. Um, that's just honestly Angie B. Like that is me. I love when I get new people around. Like Angela, you're so this, or Angie, you're so that, and you're just yourself. And because I came from that box, it's very easy. Excuse me. It's very easy for me to try to appease people and people please. I'm a people pleaser. Okay, I want to make people happy. But then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, I'll sit there and go, no, I really don't want to do this. No, no, set a boundary. And those people are, wait, hold up, you're not doing this anymore. You're not doing that anymore. I'm like, yeah, because I decided not to. I remember when I got married, I thought, I couldn't wear leggings or what have you, or I had to be, like you said, frumpy, or not, I don't mean frumpy, but you get what I'm saying, like a different version of myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm still me. And I still need to be me to be the wife that he wants me to be. Just because I got a ring on my finger doesn't mean that, or just because I'm a mom doesn't mean I have to let my body go. I still need to take care of me. And one of the things I love about my business, Radiate Naturally, is I be able to teach people that you had to take care of you and feeding your cup so that you can feed
Mhm.
the family around you. Feed your and be the best version of yourself for your partner, for your kids, for everyone else. And yes, so sometimes I do falter and step back and be quiet. And then other days I'm like, nope, it's time to be loud today.
Yes, yes. I think that is very helpful to think about because I know a lot of people in my audience are like in that range where they're having kids, they're getting married, and they just kind of feel like they need to be a certain way, but they actually just really need to fill themselves up. And that's
Yes.
the way that they can serve and help others. So I want to ask you about trauma. How do we store it in our bodies? How can we remove this trauma? I know that's like a long potential process, but look, we have time because we want to know. How do we go about dealing with it?
All right, let's get the pen and paper ready. Okay, so we got tea or coffee? Which one we want? So there's different types of trauma. There's different kinds of trauma.
Hmm.
The type of trauma that I personally deal with is a lot different in both businesses that I do have. But we store it in our bodies in so many different ways. There's physical trauma, mental, emotional, financial trauma, and spiritual trauma. So
Hmm.
there's a different ways of things, an abundance of things that can and has happened to all of us, okay, in all of those areas. I say that to say what might be traumatic for me is not traumatic, could not be sometimes not traumatic for you, okay? And it takes us to be honest with ourselves and stop judging ourselves and
Hmm.
not sit in judgment of ourselves and sometimes others to start the journey. What do I mean by that? Let's go back to that story with my friend. Um, my client. He didn't want to come out the closet. He just, he thought whatever he thought. It wasn't a religious thing for him, but he thought, but this wasn't working for him. Okay.
Hmm.
That was just not working for him and himself. And so for him to he had to release judgment of himself. He had friends that were gay. He had family members that were gay. But he
Hmm.
didn't know how to accept this portion of him himself. And so, like
Hmm.
for us, and when I talk about trauma, sometimes you have to sit in it and say, okay, this just happened and it is what it is. The best that I could do at the time. Number one. Number two, especially when it comes to sexual trauma, whatever, that was not my fault. You had to sit with that you know what, that person was the aggressor. I did not know how to say no at the time, or I was attacked. That is a big deal. That was not your fault. That was not
Hmm.
your fault. That was not, you didn't call it on to you, what have you. That was the other person's responsibility. And maybe depending on if your life was in danger, because we've heard some stories, okay? We all watch CSI, uh, where,
Hmm.
maybe it might have been the best thing at that time to allow whatever happened to happen so that you could survive to tell the story later. Okay. I'm not
Hmm.
saying that you had to, I'm not saying it's fair, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, hey, let's move forward. We have to sit with ourselves and go, okay, I love myself in spite of this trauma that's happened. I love myself in spite of this has happened. I love myself in spite of and because of this has happened. And allowing ourselves to go, okay, I still need to love me.
Yeah.
That's the first part. That's the first part. Um, The second part, each person is different, depending on where your trauma story. 'Cause we're talking very general right now. We're talking very,
Mhm.
very general right now. Um, but each person is different. We store some of us emotional eat.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of us emotional eat. Some people emotional drink. Some people lash out. So that's how it shows up. Like, I can't trust nobody. I'll do it myself. Then we had a toxic. I heard this term the other day. The toxic. I do it by myself. I do it by myself. But that can be toxic too. You get
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Because you don't trust anybody else. But so now, especially for the person I'm thinking about, um, you've done everything by yourself and you're comfortable doing everything by yourself, but you really want a partner. But you
Mhm.
can't allow no one to assist you because you're doing it by yourself. So loving yourself to go, okay, listen, I love this about myself, but let me just try this. Let me just give a piece to someone. And being able to sit down and make those goals, which honestly it takes first being honest with yourself about what you're feeling, how you're feeling, anger, who you're angry at, that person did that and that, but also loving yourself where you're at.
Mhm. Mhm. That is a good thing to digest of you, as you mentioned, loving yourself where you are. And I think that is probably the hardest part of dealing with any type of trauma and just self-acceptance in general, because I don't believe our world was made for self-acceptance. Sometimes I feel like we even today are still in the tribe mindset, and we're so concerned about the outside world. And then when you add like trauma on top of it, I know you mentioned emotional eating. Like for me, postpartum, I emotionally ate, and it was more so like I had the sugar type
Mm-hmm.
cravings. That was
Mm-hmm.
like a big thing for me. And at the time, like I knew that I was struggling with trauma, but I didn't know how to overcome that. Like I
Right.
didn't know what. Now I do, like, look, moving forward. But it's like when a person is lashing out, when a person is overeating or doing different things, or like what would you say to them to get them to like a point of actualization and moving into taking steps, especially like maybe through your program and coaching and supporting them?
So a lot of times we talk about the incidents.
Hmm.
Um, I start off with a fascia massage sometimes, and sometimes those fascia massages get a lot of things out. Fascia is a tissue around the body,
Hmm.
and as we know, or if you don't know, now you know, the body does store things in the body. They store memories in your body. Your body remembers, okay? And so that's why sometimes you have a gut reaction. If you were traumatized with someone with a white shirt and someone with a white shirt that looks just like that person walks in
Yeah.
years later, decades later, and you have a gut like, oh, your body
Hmm.
remembers. Your actual body remembers. So I get to the point after the fashion massage to say what they're feeling, how they're feeling, and getting in tune. And you're right. I do believe too that especially here in America, no offense, love America, but we have trained ourselves out of our emotions and out of our feeling our own body and
Hmm.
feeling what because we are looking at Instagram, we are looking at Facebook. you know, Jasmine's doing this, so I need to do this too. What if she thinks, no, Jasmine's doing that because God blessed her with that? Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Right,
Everybody got their own timeline.
right. So what I do is I start asking questions. Okay, how does this feel? How does that feel? Um, I also ask, when you're emotional eating, what feelings are we emotional eating with? So
Hmm.
what are you trying to do? Is it a friend? What is that friend telling you? So when you're eating the potato chips, or when you're drinking a glass of wine, or when you're eating 12, the dozen of cookies, or what have you, what is that friend telling you at that time? And I want you
Hmm.
to stop judging yourself, because so many of us judge ourselves on what we perceive. You're gonna say, when really that's just in this head.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
anything that is. I've had clients who I ate 12 donuts yesterday. I said, okay. On. Oh, Angela, you're not
Mhm.
mad at me? It was 12 donuts. Okay, cool. Are you in jail? Are you okay? Did it help your mental health to eat those 12 donuts, first of all? Okay. Like, so, but again, it starts with that. It's then after that, we got to go back to that non-judgment because most of us sit in judgment of whatever we went through. Well, I
Mhm.
should have did this and I should have did that and yada yada yada. You know that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that today. But back in the 1900s when it happened,
That's so strange to say, but like that's a real thing
right?
now.
Or the early 2000s when it happened, what did you know at the time? Did
Mhm.
you do the best you could with the information you had at the time? Not
Mhm.
anybody else, with the information you had at the time. And it takes a long time. Some people take a minute. Some people get it right then and there. She goes, no, that version of me did not know that. Okay, great. So how can we forgive ourselves? What do we do? What, you know, you couldn't have done anything differently, but how could you respond now to that version of yourself? Or some people go back and forth because they can't forgive themselves for what someone else actually did to them.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm like, okay, but what did you learn from that situation? How has that
Mhm.
protected you now? Now that you went through that, how did that protect it now? We call that in life in my life coaching class the purpose effect. And it takes a minute to get there. It does take a minute to get there.
Yeah.
It's not an overnight thing, okay? It's
Mhm.
not an overnight thing. Um, but the goal is to create purpose for those now things. And now I know I'm talking about sexual trauma right now, but a lot of people that are experienced with sexual trauma now are helping people now who are experiencing the same thing and they have that ear. Or number two, which I love so dearly, you know that if especially if it happened around childhood for you, you know now that when that child comes to you and says XYZ, you know what to do. And you believe
Mhm.
that child and you stop it there instead of having that cycle repeat itself. So
Mhm.
yes, there's a lot of different things that can happen. It is a lot of work, but it's also a lot of self-forgiveness and non-judgment. And those are the two biggest things that we perceive. You're doing something and you're doing it, judgment. No. And once you get there, you have so much more love for yourself,
Yeah.
more acceptance for yourself. And you're like, you know what? You did the best you could. Good job. You got through it. Now
Mhm.
let's go teach others. So,
Absolutely. And honestly, I think that helped me get out of like my postpartum like struggles because I had postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and I had suicidal thoughts. And I'm very open about my journey
hmm,
because of that same thing you said was purpose and
yes,
helping other women get through it. And now on the other side of that, almost 3 years later, I'm a totally different person, but it started from giving myself grace and not being judgmental because
yes.
I was so critical of myself. Like, why am I, you know, gaining and losing this weight? Why am I not able to balance like all these work things? Why is my husband getting on my nerves? Like, I just had all of these things.
Because that's what
And
they do. The husbands are hired to get on your nerves, girl. Okay.
yes, and I was just passing such hard judgment of myself. But I've wondered why. First of all, I had to even see why I was so judgy. My judgment goes back to religion.
hmm,
So I grew up in a non denominational church with predominantly white people, and everybody was perfect, essentially. And that's what I thought I had to be. Now, my
yes.
mom did not place that judgment on me, but because of the societal tribal in that religious community, although I mean they're amazing people, like this is
Of
no
course.
blame or nothing like that, but
Right.
it's just that really traumatized me at how perfect I felt like I had to be. And
Right.
so that trauma came out during postpartum And I was like, whoa, I didn't know that was still in there. And so everything that you just shared, it lets me know, you know when you see yourself being judgmental, ask yourself, where did that originate?
Right.
Because it didn't start with you.
Whose voice are you listening to?
Hmm.
Whose voice are you listening? My judgment comes from religion too. I was raised in an organization
Wow.
that and that's actually my second company, but I was raised in a very
Mm.
strict organization where I had to be perfect, and everything that I did was looked upon and judged. So if I wore too low cut a top, and this top could stumble somebody, so therefore I need to change what I am wearing, um, because this top right here could make something, cause a brother to do something else. So and it was not just clothes; it was school.
But
That's the
why
reason.
are we responsible for other people's problems? Uh,
I am not responsible for what your private parts do when you look at me in this shirt.
mhm. Mhm. Yep. Because you could be in a sheet from head to toe, wrapped up like a mummy, and that can still happen.
And that can still happen. And it took me a good long time because I am in the fitness industry and everything is tight and fitted and everything else. And I do enjoy showing the body that God gave me. Thank you.
Amen.
That I'm like, no, that's for me. Now, of course, if I'm going to a different arena, but if I'm in the gym, I'm in the gym clothes. If I'm
Mhm.
going to church, I'm in the church clothes. Okay, we don't, we all dress differently, but yes, I do get you on. And I had to stop judging myself too. That
Mhm.
was one of the biggest things because I'm like, well, it should be like this. It should be like yours. I don't might not have the finances that someone else has. And you
Mhm.
know what? Maybe God gives it on my level. Maybe my level's fifth grade. Maybe their level's 12th grade. Okay. I putting in fifth grade work. I'm gonna get the fifth grade type of thing, not the 12th grade type thing. I'm
Mhm.
big on analogies, sorry. But just being okay and say, you know what, and accepting where you're at. Yes, we can grow, but
Mhm.
accepting where you're at. So that judgment and the forgiveness of yourself, when I sat down with that question, what I did I know better more information at the time with the information I had at the time? I cried. I
Mm.
literally cried because
Mhm.
I believed everything that my parents in that organization and everybody in that place taught me. I believed it. I believed it to the T. Yeah. And then when I found more information, it was a light like, hold up, wait, thought that was true. You get what I'm saying? Like most of us as adults have been there where we've seen our parents and we're like, hey, that's not how we do things anymore. But our parents forced us to do it a certain way. And it's just like, wow. Okay. And so, okay. And when I said that question, I'm like, okay, now what do I do? And I had to forgive myself. And that was a day. That was one of them Netflix and chills days. Okay. That was one of them days, phone on silent. I'm going to sit with myself.
In your manifestation journey of building six figure plus wealth, you can use journaling to help you get there. If you would like, you can grab my Journal Your Way to 100K workbook at she'sworthy.org/journal.
How does trauma impact our ability to manifest money? Like, is there anything that you've been able to find with the trauma and what it can do to us if we don't have that in alignment, and look at what happens to our finances?
So when it comes to our finances, that is a big, huge deal because we all want the monies, right? We all want the monies, money, money, money. Okay, especially here, but yeah, your mental health, of course, if you're having mental problem, if you're having some mental trauma, or you haven't dealt with it, let me say it that way. Especially when
Mhm.
it comes to the energy of anger, like
Mm.
I was saying about my friend, my.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so now you don't know how to delegate, or you're ruining relationships because you've been angry. And we all trigger each other. Okay, we all do little things to people, not on purpose most times, but we inadvertently do things that, causes us to go, hmm. And you have to go step back and have the emotional intelligence to go, hey, this is what I need you to do here. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. So that anger can also cause you to not have good relationships with people, sponsors, vendors, or what have you that's going to support your company. When it comes to physical trauma, of course, the body's going to ache, the body's going to hurt. And if you haven't dealt with that
Mhm.
anger again, because anger can also be stored in the body as well, um, you're not going to be physically as much as in tune as you want to be with other people. Your body's going to hurt. Things are going to ache and pain. You're going to get sick. I've literally seen people sick because of whatever they're holding on to emotionally or physically.
Yeah.
And so what happens is if they're sick, the body is not to do the things that you need to do to create the income. So yeah, even on OnlyFans. So yeah, it's somehow. But if you're sick, you can't put your toes on OnlyFans. I'm sorry, you just
No,
can't.
no. They don't look the same.
They don't look the same. And I did say toes. But you gotta doing that and doing the work with yourself and taking time to talk to your childhood self, to deal with your teenage self, and even your
Mhm.
young adult self. um, Also gives you grace for other people too, because like
Yeah.
I said, we're all here to help each other heal. So sometimes people think they did that on purpose. Maybe not. Maybe it was on purpose for you to figure out that you need to deal with that trauma or deal with that energy and make sure that what you haven't dealt with this yet. That's why it's still making you angry. I love to
Mhm.
tell people that life happens for us and is against us, but sometimes life is a circle. I feel like life is a complete circle, and you go through these points financially, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally throughout the same points. But where are you on that scheme? Is it happening to you? Is it happening? And it happens. Sometimes it happens again and again and again and again, and then
Mhm.
sometimes you're on the other side of it. So now you're on the other side because you could be dealing it to somebody else. So is it
Mhm.
happening to you or is it happening for you? And how can I grow from this is the question. And now you see
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
it comes back around, not the person. That same energy is going to come back around with different people.
Yeah.
So you have to release it and you have to deal with it and feel that emotion.
Absolutely. And I think you were saying that a little bit earlier about how we don't like really deal and process with our emotions. And what I like to tell people is that emotions is literally energy in motion.
It is. Right.
If you don't handle that, your likelihood of success in creating abundance is going to be very little. Our emotions are literally the foundation of our life, and I know that that's not what people like to tell us, like, check your feelings, you're not supposed to be in your feelings, you're not supposed to, but that's a lie. And as you mentioned, that's why we have certain aches and pains. Like, I know for me, I have neck and shoulder issues. Why? Because I carry the world on my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
I know that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that I'm really working through, of like putting that responsibility down, because all of it is not mine to carry, and
Right.
I think more people would really benefit from understanding that point of view, that I really have to check my emotions. Would you say that that has anything with like emotional regulation, nervous system? Like, what have you seen like with your clients or just people in general, and how have you helped them to like overcome any like nerve issues? And what is it too? Because some people don't even understand. They'll say like, "Oh, you getting on my nerves," but they don't really understand. They have a true nervous system that works with everything. You know what I'm saying?
So that question and comment now, ask yes. So I am not a therapist. I am a master
Oh,
life
sorry.
coach, and I'm also a wellness coach. So how I do things is that for whoever asked that question, is that I like to work on a mind body connection and helping you release weight or create the life you live by addressing those issues and addressing those emotions. Like you just said, we are the only
Mm, mm-hmm.
crying because they are processing their emotion. If it's making you uncomfortable, if you cause the crying, I could see why you would say stop crying, but they're processing the emotion. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with
Mm-hmm.
me crying and letting myself emote and process because I'm a crier. I won't,
Me
yeah,
too.
I'll just say it. I am a
I
crier.
am too.
I love, yes, I'm a crier. I need to cry first to process and then move on. And people tell me stop crying. And when I stopped crying, I couldn't release the energy. I couldn't release the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
They were uncomfortable by me crying. And I'm like, no, I just need 10 minutes to cry right quick, boo hoo. All right. And then I'm going to do what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that is okay. I forgot the question, Jasmine. Sorry.
It's
Um,
okay. I got you. No, 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 no. I was just asking about nervous system regulation. I mean, that ties into what you were talking about with the
yes.
emotions and us just understanding what it is and how it affects us and what can we do to help it.
Again, I think what is it called? Yoga's really good. It's called the we were just talking about it yesterday. There's a new yoga going around with the somatic nerves.
Mm-hmm. I know
Of
what you're
course,
talking
I'm
about.
drawing a blank right now. Say it
Somatic
again.
shaking, somatic.
There's somatic, there's shaking and a somatic yoga. There we go. Thank you,
Okay.
Lord. Words are hard. Um, and so regulating the nervous system and being in your breath work, and again, being in your body. We're looking at everybody on YouTube, Instagram, and everything. I'm grateful for these platforms, yes, but we're not in tune with this.
Meat suit.
Our check
Mm-hmm.
engine light is on, and we sitting here telling some I need new wheels. No, the engine needs to work. Why we need new shoes and Louis Vuitton shoes when the check engine light and you're not here? You're literally
Yeah.
crying. You're crying. Your 7-year-old self is crying. Your 10-year-old self is crying. Your 15-year-old self is crying for the same reasons why you're not being heard now.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us want to be heard, but are we listening to ourselves and our teenage selves and our bodies and our 5-year-old self? And so when I do my techniques with my clients, we talk about that. Why are we emotional eating? What came to mind? A lot of times with that emotional eating, because emotional eating is, we can't use it for a positive. That's why I don't take away my favorite foods. I'll tell you, keep your
Yeah.
favorite food, but tune into what started the situation.
Mm-hmm.
If your husband went off on you, okay, then what did that remind you of? It reminded me of what my mother went off on me. Okay, all right. How did those two make you feel? Okay, how does that make you feel when you were a kid? Now count, because sometimes we still respond to things like we did when we were kids. When really
Mm-hmm.
I can stand up and go, okay, I had the power, and I can say it nicely. We don't have to say it, with a neck roll but we can say it with a, okay, I do love, thank you for letting me know this, but this is what I'm standing up for today, and having that power back. So it takes some work. It takes some things. It takes a lot of journaling. But again, it goes
Mm-hmm.
back to that acceptance of yourself, the love of yourself, not standing in judgment of yourself of how things should be
Yeah.
or who should do what. That's a big one right there. Well, I'm 30 years old. I should have 2.5 kids now. No, No, why? I'm 40 years old. I should have. Why? What do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you want to do? And that sitting out of judgment does help out a lot. So
Yes,
that's
I think
my first
that's
step. Yes.
oh, absolutely. I think that's a new phenomenon actually that we can think about what we want to do. And I sometimes I wonder if that's the reason why we have such a hard time processing when we haven't met certain timelines in life is because like, that was a thing. Like you get married at 20, you have a kid by 25 at the latest, and your whole life is dedicated to that. And I wonder if we're having trouble with the freedom of being able to actually choose what we want.
I think it goes back and forth because the older generation, I'm talking about 1950s and 60s, they still programmed to, hey, some of them, not all, some of y'all, not all, very much programmed to, you should do this and you should do that and you should do this and you
Mhm.
should do that. And those are great guidelines. But I'm celebrating the 10th year anniversary of my 35th birthday that next month, okay? I don't have any children. I don't feel like a failure for that. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, I'm a great auntie and I'm here for the kids that are around me. As soon as they call, I answer. They need a break, they come over. Um, and that's how I support the community there. So some might have I think it's also that we don't have that 1, 2, 3, 4, but I also think it's, what is someone else going to think about me?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because we get all the time, you're married, why y'all hadn't had children now? I, okay. We're running two companies. We have kids. We have kids in our lives. Like,
Mhm.
the question is, am I happy? Is he happy? The question is, do we
Mm.
have a happy home?
But they
Am
never
I happy?
ask that. They don't ask, "Are you happy?" They ask, "What else can you add to your plate that could potentially make you unhappy?" But that's a whole nother.
Exactly. There we go. Because if I'm happy with the four dogs I have and my husband, which I am, great. Not I say if a child doesn't come up, if a child, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. But
Yeah.
I think we I think we're worried about what other people think so much that we again forget to tune into ourselves
Mhm. Mhm.
and just because I'm not putting down mommies. I'm not. I will listen. I will support you all day. Give me that baby. Why? You need to go break. Go to the spa. I got the kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Or sis, do we need a girl all day? He can watch the baby and we can go out. Okay. What do you need? I support the mommies. Okay. That's one of the first thing I say to people in the fitness industry. Let's support you because you need to fill your cup too.
Mhm.
And I think that we're so worried that Shonda Rhimes in her book Shondaland, she said it best. She was like, we always has this concept that we can have it all, but she said, when I'm in Shondaland, I'm missing my daughter's recital, and when I'm at a
Mhm.
recital, I'm missing somebody's script and something emergency email in Shondaland, and I get blamed for both things.
Mhm.
So where do you find joy in putting yourself into where you find joy and being okay with that? This brings me joy and setting that boundary. I have my clients list what's most important to them. So if family's in the top, great. Because no one's on their deathbed saying, oh, I should have made sure I work 50 more hours at my job.
Right. Mhm.
And trust and believe, if you died on the job like somebody did at Amazon, your job will be up within the hour on LinkedIn. Okay. Before you,
Because they don't care.
all right. So if family's up top, then let's put family up top and put those recitals or put those, events on top and move the meetings around. And you
Mhm.
have that boundary, you have that what bring that joy to your life. Now, yes, you do need to go to work probably or figure out something that makes you that you can do and the kids can do to make you happy, being online, what have you. But there are options out there. And your mental
Mhm.
health is foremost because those kids see it, your partner see it, and when you fill your cup is very full. You can fill in the others, but right now, if your cup is empty, what can you give your children? What are you giving your
Nothing.
partner?
Nothing.
They starving too, and you thirsty 3. Ain't nothing in this cup no more. And when I do that, but Angela said, yeah, but is your cup full? And actually, the scripture said, I was reading to someone else the other day, the scripture says, I forget what scripture it is. It says it say fill out of your cup, it fills out of your overflow.
That word is used a lot.
So that doesn't mean this.
Keep pouring. Ain't nothing to pour.
That means I don't have to pour. That means this cup is full, and you gonna catch what falls out as it's still pouring.
That's right.
So have you filled your cup yet with your fitness routine, with your meditation, whatever you need to do? I ask my clients all the time, what's the one thing you want to do with as a kid that you haven't done? Go take yourself out on a play date without your children. Without your children.
I do all the time. I went to Paris by myself last year. Yes. Like I'm doing me.
I take myself skating. I'm like, you know what? I need to go skating. And none of my friends go, so that's fine. I listen to my music and I skate by myself because that's what my child likes to do, me. And we go skating. My husband might come on, but he won't skate with me. You know, I'll take you. I'm like, okay, fine. Thank you for coming. But go do something that you like to fill your cup. Your kids see it, your partner see it, your business partner see it when you have your cup full.
Yes. And as we're talking about that, what would you say how that strong physical and mental health, how does that help secure that financial wealth?
So I'm learning this right now. I am literally seeing the ties between that financial and that the physical health. It takes the same boundaries, and it takes you taking the same boundaries, the financial health and the physical health. Saying no, saying yes, putting money to the side is the same as getting up early or making sure you get your workout in. It's the same as that energy. Savings account, my stock second, my business third, or what my fun account, because I like my guilty pleasure is a glass of wine every night. Okay, I like it. So I like my wines. Okay. And then I have another account I feed into too. Those are the first things I pay first, like a percentage. And then I take care of my bills. When I notice I do that, I get more money. The money goes, or it has Byron Golden says, my money get pregnant. My money gets pregnant, right? Because I feed my stock, right? I want that pregnant stock. Okay. I want that pregnant money. Okay. So now I can take care of things, and when something happens, I have my savings already there. Same thing with the physical health. If I do my workout, whatever time you do it, but let's say you do it in the morning when everybody's asleep. So before the day gets started and everybody else's problems come and get you, you done your workout, you've done your prayer and meditation, you feel like you've done your stretching, your back doesn't hurt, what have you. Now I can take care of everybody else. Now I've done everything I need to do for me. Now if something at the crap hits the fan and something traumatic happens, guess what? I'm okay and I can deal with it. Your ambulance driver is not on a oxygen mask too. If he was, who gonna get there first? And so many of us are on oxygen. Workout, herbs, meditation, prayer. Check in with me. How am I feeling today? What do I have capacity for today? There's plenty of days where my capacity levels, instead of 100%, it's at 50.
That's why I'm
And guess
today.
what? I go through my day. What can I do and what do I have to do? Scratch off some stuff. No, sis, I can't do that today. Why? I'm at 50% today. I need to sleep and watch Netflix today.
Yeah.
Or if I'm at 100%, great, cool. We can conquer the world. Shit, let's conquer the world, girl. Let's go. Okay, sis, I can do that for you today. I can take that baby for you. I can do that, but I've already done me. So that's how they both they're the same. They're the exact same. Because when you're fed and you're stretched out, you can help everybody else. And the same thing your money, you can help everybody else.
Yes, yes, that's very true. And I don't think people consider that, especially because we have been maybe taught, like even in religion, like, oh, give, like those, not saying that that's how it was written in the Bible, but that's what was focused on in the church a lot.
Right.
And we're constantly giving, we're going to ministries, we're doing missions, and it's like, okay, but when do we get what we need? Like, when do we learn how to receive? Because I know some people that almost always overgave, and they were miserable, mean, and I didn't want nothing from them.
That was my family. We overgave. My dad used to joke he would wear holy underwear, literally holes with underwear with holes in it. And he was like, "Okay, God said be holy," and he was joking,
Mm,
but he wasn't joking. If you
yeah,
get my drift.
yeah.
And I'm sitting there like now going, "Oh, that's the reason why I literally give from an empty cup, expecting someone else to fill my cup, but they taking care of their bills."
Mm-hmm. But I'm constantly giving what I have when I really need to be keeping some of, like, I need to give to myself first, and then I give to others. and,
Right,
and that's something also too I'm working with my husband, because he will, like, give his last, and I appreciate it. It's so kind. But sir,
right,
because unfortunately it has affected his wellness,
right.
because he's always giving out and he's not giving into self. And
So how?
oh, sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead. So how I work was this, and like I told you, I love little secret. Mine, I love wine. Okay, love me a glass of wine. So I was that person. I was him. I would give my whole. If my bills was due, no, sis, let me go ahead and give you the $600 I was gonna pay my car note with to you because whatever. I didn't want you to think bad of me, right? I'll figure it out. God gonna bless me, right? What happened was I wasn't able to
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because now I'm stressed, and I'm like, wait, let me at least put my car note and my wine money and my stock money now to the side, and now I can give to you.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
back to that cup situation. Now I can give because now I have enough, but I'm also taken care of. If we both homeless on the street, if, I can't get you home either.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Honestly, I think those people, and I've seen myself like do this, and I've noticed, like, when I do me, I become more abundant. I
Yes,
become more well and happy and joyful, because I have so much, as you said, that's overflowing.
right.
you know and I think that everyone can really learn something from that, of you sharing those examples, and them seeing it, and I think that's going to be the game changer. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I do say this: they both require boundaries because once you
Mm,
finally found your peace, and I got my, and when you got your peace in here,
mm-hmm.
and you got your workouts going on, you got your mental health, whatever you like to do, for your workouts, whatever you like to do for your mental health. If you got that going, you protect it.
That's right, that's right.
The same thing with your money. Now I got my house ready, my car ready, da da da. I'm gonna protect it. I'm happy to give you some money if I got it. Cool. I can give you $5, $10, but I'm gonna have $20 in my pocket. And that word,
Right.
it took me so long because I was so scared to say no to people. I didn't want to tell you no. I want to help
Mm,
you.
mm-hmm,
But I learned
mm-hmm.
that no by saying, I learned how to say no by saying I'm unable to. I didn't tell you no. I'm unable to. I'm unable to give you that money because I've got to pay my notes. I'm unable to
Mm-hmm.
give you this time because, again, today I don't feel good. So therefore, you don't need to know all that. I just say I'm unable to.
Yeah.
And that's it. But maybe it's just because I need a day by myself and there ain't nobody home today and I want to be on the sofa watching Netflix with my glass of wine and
Because that's finna happen after my afternoon meetings. That's what I'm finna do before I go get my
That's my
baby.
tomorrow. That's my tomorrow. I got a whole day
Tomorrow. Okay.
scheduled for that. Okay. My Wednesdays are packed so that tomorrow I'm like this.
Living,
My whole
living.
team knows that. They're like, don't call home Tuesday on Thursdays. Yes, ma'am.
I love it.
So
Yes.
you
So
got to
let me
schedule that.
Of course, of course. And let me know, like, how can people get in contact with you for your life coaching services? I know, are you still doing personal fitness? I mean, just share all the details. Where can we find you? What can we do?
So my website is Coach Angie BE. So be present, be here, be in love. So CoachAngieB.com. My two businesses is Radiate Naturally, where I help people physical fitness get back in tune with their bodies. And the Exodus Group is my nonprofit. We're working on our 501(c)(3) right now, where I help people get back into their emotions, tune into their emotions with physical fitness. So they kind of interchange.
Mm-hmm.
I deal with I do a lot of life coaching with both organizations. Um, with I help people get out of I help people in the with the Exodus Group who experience church hurt and people who have come out of high control organizations or cults, and
Mm-hmm.
help them re-educate themselves and re-get in tune with their bodies, because like we talk about, nervous system remembers all that. Depending
Yeah.
on what you've gone through, there's different levels of what your body remembers, and you got to deal with that too and still love yourself. um
Mm-hmm.
with the physical fitness side, yes, I do life coaching there, because when we're emotional eating, we need to know what we're eating for. We're feeding something, we're feeding somebody or
Mm.
something, and there's that child in us that hasn't been fed yet and nurtured. And once we deal with that emotion and love on ourselves and say, hey, it's okay, we can slowly but surely let that food go. No, there's no bad food. I don't say this. I just say, hey, let's just add a vegetable. Let's just add a fruit. Can we add
Mm-hmm.
some water in there? Okay. so, and so, yeah, my Radiate Naturally is on Instagram and all the social media. And the Exodus Group is on also social media as well. But you put my website, Coach Angie BE. So it's BE, CoachAngieB.com. And you see me right there. You can DM me there.
Yes, yes. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. I think I personally enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. So I know my viewers will as well. There were just so many great takeaways. And I think that wellness is the path to money. I always have thought that. I never thought that, like, that practical, that people say, oh, well, you just got to go to school. You just got to go to work. You just, like, if that was the steps, a lot of us would be way further ahead than.
Exactly.
But that's
Exactly.
not it. Obviously it's deeper than that. And I feel like that's what your work does, and I'm just so happy to have you and have share your platform so people can get to know you and be able to join your communities and just be a part of the work you're doing.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this interview too, because I've been working on the money portion. We're all, we're all lacking in one area or another. And that's where I'm working on. But thank you, because those aha moments I just shared, I just received like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, this is how I need to do this, and it's been working. So thank you, thank you for being
Yay!
synchronicity, and yes, and bringing that hammer it down in my head that okay, that's what I need to do. All right.
Yes, yes. Well, hopefully we will have you back on the podcast soon.
Yes, we will. I can't
Thank
wait.
you.